Steve, you're good? Everybody's home.
Good?
In any final, when you leave your hotel in the morning, you never know if you're going to come back a winner or a loser. It's difficult to play a friend, and obviously in the finals of a Grand Slam.
I feel like we both had similar journeys.
A lot of ups and downs in both of our careers, but I think we both have fought through a lot of adversity.
Tennis was taken away from us. It kind of reignited this passion for the sport.
There's a new fighter in town, and her name is Sloane Stephens.
Madison Keys into her first major final.
I'm still shaking. It's really unique that we're not going up against someone who has been in that situation before.
I think for both of us, this is a huge step.
These are the moments growing up that you dream about. I couldn't think of a better person to have this first experience with.
Welcome to US Open Primetime. Well, the weather gods were smiling down on Flushing Meadows' blue skies, and plenty of sunshine greeted fans as they arrived on Women's Final Day. Hello, I'm Stephanie Brands alongside Mark Donaldson for another episode of US Open Primetime. Great to have you with us here, where the energy was absolutely palpable ahead of the women's final. Huge excitement, and the local fans here were guaranteed a winner. Let's have a look at what happened in the women's final between Madison Keys and Sloane Stephens.
So we're guaranteed an American winner of the US Open in the women's. First All-American final since 2002. Unfortunately for Madison Keys, she played against someone who was absolutely on the top of her game. Stephens taking the first set 6-3 in just 30 minutes. In the second set, this is Keys serving at love 1 and love 30. It was a masterclass from behind the baseline by Sloane Stephens. Remember, back in Australia in January, she was watching from the States with her leg in plaster. What a comeback, and what a performance this was. She would constantly break her opponent in the second set. You felt for Madison Keys, nerves clearly playing a part. She didn't play like this in her semi-final against Coco Vandeweghe, but she was up against an opponent who was absolutely ruthless. Just 6 unforced errors in the whole match for Sloane Stephens. You dream that you're going to play well in a final if you get there. In reality, your dream never normally lives up to what you wished for. It did for Sloane Stephens in this one. She had 3 championship points. And again, despite the fact she's about 6 feet behind that baseline, that is what it meant to her. This will take a while to sink in. It might be a bit of an anticlimax in that it was only an hour and 1 minute, the third quickest US Women's Open final. But the two good friends hugging it out. And tears aplenty on Arthur Ashe. Stephens wins 6-3, 6-love in an hour and 1 minute.
I honestly had surgery January 23rd, and if someone told me then that I'd win the US Open, it's impossible, I would say. It's absolutely impossible. And my journey to get here, coming back, just being able to keep it all together and have such a great team behind me. This journey's been incredible, and I honestly wouldn't change it for the world.
I asked I asked Madison about the moment up here at the net, but then you did something I've really never seen anyone else do in major championship tennis after a final. You got up from your side of the chair while we were waiting and sat down next to Madison. The two of you sitting together. What did you share with her in that moment before the ceremony began, Sloane?
Maddie's one of my bestest friends on tour, and well, if not my best friend on tour, and to play her here, honestly, I wouldn't have wanted to play anyone else, but for us both to be here is such a special moment, and I think I told her I wish there could be a draw because I wish we could have both won, but I think that if it was the other way around, she would do the same for me, and I'm going to support her no matter what, and I know she's going to support me no matter what. So to stand here with her today is incredible, and that's what real friendship is.
You know, obviously I didn't play my best tennis today, and I'm really disappointed, but if you told me as I was getting on a plane to go have my second surgery that I could have a Grand Slam finalist trophy in my hands at the end of the year, I think I'd be really happy. So I think I mostly learned that, you know, I'm a fighter, and no matter what, I can figure things out. And in a couple of days, I'll be really happy. But right now, I'm still a little bit disappointed.
What a stunning victory. Mark Donaldson, it was perhaps the speed with which she did it that was most stunning.
So many things. She was utterly ruthless. 1 hour and 1 minute. That is the third fastest US Open final for the women in history. You have to go back to 1997 when Martina Hingis beat Venus Williams 6-love to find the bagel as well. Let's break this down a little bit. First of all, you find me someone who claims to have not cried at any stage during the end of that. I'll find you a liar. There's a lot of tears in the house. Sloane Stephens not only is a wonderful tennis player, she showed that today, and bearing in mind she was on her couch with her leg in plaster in January watching the Australian Open, she showed herself to me, to everybody else, to be a wonderful human being. She didn't need to go and sit beside her opponent. She did. She even made Madison laugh. And we all felt so bad for Madison during it because she's much better than that, but nerves, footwork wasn't good. And for Sloane, the problem for Madison was that Sloane played so well. And there's only going to be one winner, and that was 1 hour and 1 minute. And she had a restaurant reservation by the looks of things. She was in a hurry.
Exactly, and she is indeed the first female winner with the double initials, the SS, since our very own Sam Stosur.
Yes, yes, you did this on the bus to me this morning.
Yes.
Who was it? Australian? Yes,
There's a fun Australian fact for you. Let's cross the ditch now, though. Michael Venus was in action with his new best friend, Hao Ching Chan. Let's see how they went in the mixed doubles after the break. Hours before the All-American Women's Final, the mixed doubles final took centre stage on Arthur Ashe.
The mixed doubles final on Ashe, Hingis and Murray, the #1 seeds against Chan and New Zealand's Michael Venus. It's a decent first set for the top seeds. This is the early stages, and they play well together. Hingis and Murray, they would win the first set 6-1. Into the second set, the tide turned in favour of Venus and Chan. Nice put away for the girl from Taipei. Into a third and deciding set. First to 10 points in the deciding set. There was a reason I didn't speak there, because I didn't want to spoil it and talk over the point of the match. That was Chan serving at 6-7. This is Murray serving at 7-8. The overhead does not come back. Ties it at 8 apiece. Remember, first to 10. Match point on Michael Venus's serve. Martina Hingis and Jamie Murray would get the job done with that. Delight for Scotland. Had to say that. And Switzerland. Murray and Hingis win it. The top seeds beat the #3 seeds 6-1. 4-6, 10-8.
I always enjoyed playing the super tiebreaker. I mean, winning or losing, I think it's for the spectators. It's it's fun, like, because it brings more drama to it. I'm not always for the deciding points because I think that brings the weaker teams closer to the good teams. I mean, especially in women's, where the serve and the return. I mean, it's almost like the women return better than they serve most of the time. So I think it evens it out because you can't afford to make those mistakes. Like even like in today in the mix is the same because there's more pressure to the server, and obviously the returner can decide the better team, like the side that you feel less comfortable. And so that's why I think even like the Grand Slams that you played out, the better teams really end up winning. But we won. I mean, I'm not going to complain because we won all the super tiebreakers. We won here today. We won Wimbledon. So I think overall, I think you have to just be there, and this is how it's played now for the TV. It's all a show, and you gotta earn your victories.
Here in the final is a great result for me already. Now remain the last match against a very tough opponent, and I need to be ready for it. It's probably the most important match for me that remain of this year. So I'm gonna try my best to play my best.
Nadal's, I think, one of the greatest competitors in sports, period. I mean, he's an amazing fighter. He really controls the court well. So the few times I've played him, I really need to be dominant and control proceedings as much as possible, because if you let him do it, it's very difficult.
Rafael Nadal and Kevin Anderson take centre stage tomorrow. After the break, Darren Cahill joins us to break down the men's final.
The 2017 U.S. Women's Singles Champion, Sloane Stephens.
When you're sitting back home watching the tennis on TV, your leg all strapped up, what did you think your future looked like?
Oh, I don't know. I was super stressed. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be the same player, if I'm going to be worse, if I'm going to be able to beat anyone. Like, there was a lot of things going through my mind. But when I started my comeback, I just tried to stay as positive as possible, and knew that at some point I was going to beat some people and, get some matches and some confidence. And I didn't know it would be this soon, but I'm definitely not complaining.
Well, and to win this, you had to beat one of your best friends. The manner in which you beat her, how was that for you? It was convincing.
Yeah, no, it was good. They said I had like 6 unforced errors, which is incredible. I mean, that means I played a really solid, clean match. So for me, that was what I wanted to do from the beginning. So I couldn't really ask for much more.
You had a phone call from your granddad after the match. What did he have to say?
Oh, they're just so proud. They're having champagne and pizza for me. So, no, I think it's just amazing. I love my grandparents to death. They're probably my best friends in the whole world. So I was super excited that they got to witness and see it. And it's an incredible moment for me and my family.
Big media night ahead. What's next for you?
Oh, I don't even know. I'm literally just trying to get through these next hour. I'm hour to hour. I'm not even day to day. So we'll just see.
You're still beaming. Thanks for chatting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
84 was, of course, a big year for you here in New York, but the Arthur Ashe Stadium celebrating 20 years. What's your favourite US Open memory?
Well, my favourite US Open memories are always the ones that I win, the matches that I win. I had a lot of injuries. I didn't play the US Open as many times as I would have liked, unfortunately, but probably the memory that sticks in everybody's mind is the original Super Saturday, which was I was happy to be part of. I was the unknown. There was Newcomb and Smith were playing the Legends event, then there was Navratilova and Abbott playing the women's final, and then there was Lendl and this young guy called Cash, and then there was McEnroe and Connors afterwards, and every match went down to the wire, everyone, the whole day, and I lost. I had a match point and lost to Lendl. I was very happy. I was disappointed, but happy to my performance as a 19-year-old breaking out, and that was, even though it did haunt me, I must say, for many, many months, having that match point, what I could have done and all this sort of stuff, but it also spurred me on to become a better player.
They'll be playing for a Grand Slam trophy, so that's obviously an amazing feeling.
There'll be a fresh face in the U.S. Open final. Big Kevin Anderson, a monument to perseverance
I am with confidence. I am doing the right things.
Rafael Nadal roars into another U.S. Open final.
Nadal's one of the greatest competitors in sports, period.
I'm very happy about all the things that happened to me, and I'm going to fight to try to win another title here.
I've worked really hard to get here. It feels great that I've given myself a spot, so I'll be very excited.
Now remain the last match against a very tough opponent, and I need to be ready for it.
Well, Darren Cahill, we have the men's final between Rafael Nadal and Kevin Anderson. Not what everyone was expecting a couple of weeks ago, correct?
Correct, especially with Kevin Anderson making it through. I think he's the first South African to make it through to the US Open final since Cliff Drysdale, who we work with at ESPN, so it's great to see him playing so well.
Indeed, and were you gunning for Rafa?
A little bit. I have a soft spot for Rafa. I just respect his work ethic, and as I've said a few times before, he's one of the players that even on tour I'll go out and watch a lot of his practice sessions because I feel like you learn so much, not only from his attitude on court, but the stuff that he works on as well. And he works on court a little bit different to the way he plays. When he plays, everybody thinks about him hitting 10, 20 shot rallies, but in his practice sessions, he tries to hit the cover off every single ball. And actually, that's what he did against Del Potro to turn it around in that second set.
As you said with Kevin Anderson, there hasn't been a South African in the final of this major for quite some time. Will that sense of occasion overwhelm him, do you think?
Maybe. You saw his speech after he won yesterday in the semi-final. It was like he'd won the tournament, but God bless him. I thought it was a great moment, and he enjoyed it. He's 31 years of age, so he's not a youngster. So I don't think he'll be overwhelmed that much. I know he's been working with a sports psychologist for the last 3 years, Alexis Castori, who's worked with a lot of players before, Yvonne Lendl and Annie Murray, and both those guys won majors under her. And he's made a complete change about the way he's playing, getting pumped up after every point, really talking to himself and really trying to reinforce the positives. He's also a type of player who used to get down on himself, and even though he's 6'8", he never really walked tall around the tennis court. Completely changed this year. He's walking tall, he's playing like a 6'8" guy, he's unpredictable, he's got the huge serve, but he's also hitting the cover off the ball from the back of the court. So I think he's going to be a problem for Rafa.
Well, the unpredictability may be to his advantage against someone like Nadal. Just quickly, how do you see it playing out?
Depends on Kevin's serve. He has to serve well. The serve is the big strength from him, and that's going to go to the main weakness of Rafa. And we see Nadal on hard court sometimes struggled on that return of serve, finding where to stand, what type of swing to put on the return. So Kevin can serve 140 miles an hour on a first serve, consistently 115 on a second serve. That could present a problem for Nadal. We also know that Nadal never really relaxes until he breaks serve that first time. Then he's a completely different player. So if Kevin can get off to a good start, hold those first 5 or 6 times, get into a breaker, maybe sneak it, then you can see Nadal get a little anxious on court until he breaks serve. Now, I give him a shot. I think he's going to cause Rafa a few problems. I think the experience and the way Nadal's playing the last few matches is good enough to see him win another title, but I'm expecting a good match.
Plenty of Australian action out on the courts of the Billie Jean King National Tennis Centre today, right after this.
For your first slam final, and you made 3 unforced errors in the first 13 games and 6 for the match. Do you think you might be?
I made 6 unforced errors the whole match.
Oh my God.
Shut the front door. Oh my God, I don't think that's ever happened to me before. Oh my God, that's a stat. Snaps for me.
The US Open is an incredible experience for New Yorkers and tourists alike, but that experience is simply not complete unless you take the famous commute. The number 7 takes you from Grand Central Station all the way to the doors of the tennis complex. So today, we're going to take that trip and see what it's all about. Over 750,000 people pass through Grand Central Station every day, and there isn't a better place to meet up if you're heading to a New York sports event. The 7 train takes approximately 26 minutes to get to the Billie Jean King Tennis Center, and during the trip, we also ran into plenty of baseball fans since Citi Field, home of the New York Mets, is the same stop as the US Open. The trip makes several other stops in Queens, and we simply couldn't resist making a quick one in one of the best neighborhoods for Latin eats. One of the best things about taking the 7 train from Grand Central Station to the US Open is that one of the stops happens to be in Jackson Heights, Queens, one of the most diverse areas in all of New York City, if not the entire country. You can basically find anything you want to eat here. I decided to go with a nice arepa colombiana, chicharrón style. You know what's up. After a delicious arepa, we were ready to hop back on the 7 with the thousands of fans who were excited, just like us, to check out the sports action just a few minutes away. And so here we are, half an hour later, we've arrived. Many people will go over Citi Field where they want to catch some action of the Mets facing off against the Phillies, while us, conveniently enough, are going to go to the US Open right next door.
Here are other results from today, including Dylan Alcott's doubles match. Now, of course, he completed earlier today in the singles.
This was a good match, this one out on court 17. Dylan Alcott, who's had a mixed tournament so far. This is match point. He's playing in the quad singles. Unfortunately for Dylan, the performance in the first game wasn't enough to take him through because he got the job done today in 3 sets in 2 hours and 4 minutes. But unfortunately for Dylan, he was unable to progress. But a good win today on court 17 for Dylan Alcott.
We have never done this before. This is a new tradition. And so we would like to present for the first time ever a trophy to the coach of our champion, Kamal Murray.
That's a nice one too.
Kamal, congratulations. Great job.
Isn't that nice?
Check in here. That's something, Gordon. You're going to have to talk to her about that. Oh, don't worry.
Well, what a day it's been here at the US Open. I can't believe it's almost over. The penultimate day has finished. It went too quickly.
It did. You've had to put up with me for, what, 13 days now? I wonder if we can last 24 more hours. What do we have? We have the men's final coming up. I hope it goes a little bit longer than the women's. That will depend if Kevin Anderson can sort out his nerves, because he admitted in the semi-final, Steph, we spoke to him afterwards that the first set, he was struggling with these nerves against Carreño Busta. He's got to start quickly against Rafael Nadal, who's not won the US Open since 2013. I think he will win it, but Kevin, if he can serve well and start well, we might get 4 sets out of this one. Might even get it longer, so fingers crossed.
Well, let's see what happens. You can join us to see what happens there tomorrow night, but thanks for your company tonight. Congratulations to Sloane Stephens, US Open champion for 2017. See you tomorrow.
Here on Arthur Ashe with a full house watching. Her own national championship at stake against a friend. When you think of all the dynamics that she was facing, for her to play the kind of tennis that she played with so few unforced errors was a wonderful achievement.